Once the song is done, you have to make a decision whether or not to demo it. If we are honest with ourselves as songwriters, not every song we write is worthy of a professional demo. The key is to decide which ones are worth the extra effort and investment in making a professional demo. One of the things that I always tell young songwriters when it comes to demoing their songs is never assume that an industry professional will be able to hear through your rough recording. You really only have, in our industry, one chance to make a first impression. There's an analogy that I use for this that I think is really, it's a little bit dramatic, but I think it makes the point. And the analogy is, let's say that you are set up on a blind date and you are a wonderful person. You've got a heart of gold and you're genuinely a pleasure to be around. But for whatever reason, you get busy the week before that date and you just don't get a chance to shower. Do you think that your blind date is going to notice that you're witty and interesting, or that you haven't showered for a week? It's kind of the same way with presenting your songs to people in the industry. You really have to come across not only with a great melody and lyric, which is in reality what a song is all about, but the presentation has to be such that it brands you as a pro. Don't give someone in the industry any reason not to like your song, especially if it has nothing to do with the song itself. And here's something else. Every once in a while, you will find someone in the industry who says that they can listen to anything you've got. I still believe that it's not a great idea to send them this rough recording of yours for the very simple reason that if they do like it, they won't be able to send that to anyone else without someone else who you don't have that same relationship with listening to your rough recording. All that to say, if you have a song that you think is a great song and you want to get it out to the world at large, you need to do a professional demo. Now, a lot of times there is the thought process with songwriters that they can just record the demo themselves. Now, the way that I feel about this is the only time that it is okay to record your own demos is, one, if you are as passionate about recording as you are about songwriting. And what I mean by that is the skill that it takes to write a song is very different from the skill that it takes to record a song well. When I was getting started, and I'll tell you what I'm heading towards here, I am as passionate about the recording part of things as I am about songwriting. And the example that I always use is when the software for Pro Tools, which is a recording software, came out, it came with a 450-page manual. I was so excited about that side of things that I read that manual cover to cover twice before I even installed the software. That's what I mean about being as passionate about the recording process as you are about songwriting. So if in fact you want to start doing your own demos, you really have to be prepared to take the time to learn the recording process. Also, you need to be very aware, if you're doing your own recordings, of what competitive recordings sound like. What I mean by that is make sure that the product that you are recording sounds as good as anything being done in a professional studio. Otherwise, the risk is that you will brand yourself as an amateur. There are only so many hours in the day, so if you have to choose, I would highly recommend working on your songwriting, not recording. A lot of people think, well, if I record my stuff by myself, I'll save money. But there are two thoughts here. One is that cheap can be expensive. In other words, just because you aren't paying anybody for studio time, if you're making recordings that don't sound very good and brand you as an amateur, then that's a very dangerous and expensive mistake to make. And second of all, there is an illusion that having your own recording studio saves you money. But a good friend of mine who's a recording engineer said the greatest thing once. He said, if you own a studio, you will always be exactly one piece of gear away from having everything you need. In other words, it doesn't really end up saving you money in the long run to have your own studio. It's just something that you should do if you're passionate about it, but don't do it for the wrong reasons.